He was born not in a palace, but in the simple, dusty village of Nazareth. It was a quiet place, far from the centers of power and influence. Here he lived with his parents, Mary and Joseph. Their home was modest, reflecting the life of ordinary people in that time and place. Joseph was a carpenter, a craftsman who worked with his hands. He spent his days shaping wood, building homes and tools for the community. Mary, his mother, was a woman of deep faith and gentle strength. She nurtured Jesus with love, teaching him the ways of their people and the stories of their history. From Joseph, Jesus learned the dignity of labor. He saw the value in honest work and the satisfaction of creating something useful and lasting. Even as a child, something remarkable was evident in him. He displayed a natural, profound compassion for others. Kindness and generosity seemed to flow effortlessly from his young heart. He shared what little he had and offered comfort where he could. He often went out of his way to help those around him. Empathy was not just a feeling for him, it was an active response to the needs of others. He found genuine joy in the simplest acts of service. Grand gestures were unnecessary, the small kindnesses were enough. One story tells of him crafting a simple toy. He made it carefully, not for himself, but for a neighbor's child who had nothing. Another time, he gently tended to an injured bird he found. He cared for it until it was strong enough to fly away. A spiritual depth was evident in him from a very early age. It was a quiet knowing, a connection that set him apart. He prayed often, even as a young boy. His conversations with the divine seemed as natural as breathing. When he was 12 years old, he traveled with his family to Jerusalem. It was time for the great Passover festival, a journey many families made. Amidst the bustling crowds and the solemn rituals, he felt a powerful pull. He stayed behind, drawn irresistibly to the temple courts. His parents searched for him, anxious and worried. They finally found him in a place they might not have expected. He was sitting among the wise teachers and scholars of the law. He was not just listening, but actively engaged in discussion. He astonished these learned men with his insightful questions. His understanding and wisdom were far beyond what they expected from a boy his age. He displayed a knowledge of scripture and spiritual matters that surpassed their own. They marveled at his understanding and his answers. When his parents found him, he spoke words that hinted at his unique purpose. He asked them why they were searching, saying he had to be in my Father's house. Mary heard these words and treasured them deeply in her heart. She sensed their significance, even if she didn't fully understand them yet. Returning to Nazareth, he continued to grow. He matured physically, and his spiritual depth deepened with each passing year. He was known throughout the village for his quiet humility. There was no arrogance or pride in him, only a gentle spirit. He never sought recognition or praise for the good deeds he did. He acted out of genuine care, not for applause. He quietly helped those in need around him. He might fetch water for an elderly widow or assist a struggling neighbor with their work. His simple actions often spoke louder than any words could. They demonstrated a life lived in service and love. People in the village began to notice this quiet strength. They started to rely on him, not just for practical help, but for something more. He provided comfort to those who were troubled. He offered guidance to those who were lost and wisdom to those who sought understanding. He became recognized, not through seeking fame, but through his very being. He was a beacon of light in their small, ordinary village. Life in Nazareth continued its rhythm, but change came, as it does to all families. Joseph, his earthly father, passed away. This left Jesus with the responsibility of caring for his mother, Mary. He balanced these family duties with a growing sense of a greater calling. The quiet years in Nazareth had prepared him, though the world did not yet know it. He had learned the lessons of humility, compassion, and service. He had deepened his connection to the divine. The carpenter's son was ready. The years of quiet growth in Nazareth were drawing to a close. A new chapter was about to begin, one that would take him beyond the familiar paths of his village. His time was coming,